relationships have been on the decline since women came out of the cave, looked around and said, this isn't so hard.
Okay, so you don't need a man, but do you still want one?
Oh, honey, I want more than one.
Sex and the City revolutionized the 90s and early 2000s by showing women as independent, sexually free, and financially self-reliant. The main characters are all independent women, but Miranda and Samantha represent something that goes beyond healthy independence. Neither of them acts like they need anyone, especially not a man. They have successful careers, earn a ton of money, and do not want to settle. Samantha wants to remain childless and have sexual intercourse with a bunch of men. Miranda refuses to depend on anybody but herself. They both embody characteristics of the hyper-independent woman, and although it's clearly unhealthy, it looks like their way of life is winning ground among women nowadays.
I don't understand why women are so obsessed about getting married. I mean, married people just want to be single again.
Women have become so independent that 45% of American women aged 25 to 44 are projected to be single and childless by 2030. That's in only 5 years, and it's supposedly a good thing. They are advancing their careers, desire more financial freedom, and prioritize personal fulfillment. Somehow, independence has been sold to us as the be-all and the end-all, the only surefire way to achieve happiness. But is that true? Is praising women for living their lives for themselves helping them? Is it making them happy or secretly miserable? In today's video, we'll discuss how modern society glorifies toxic independence in women and how shows like Sex and the City helped shape this narrative.
I repeat, nothing to do with us.
Exactly. We are single and fabulous.
Absolutely.
Sex and the City portrayed 4 independent women. Carrie and Charlotte both have successful careers and are financially self-reliant, but contrary to Samantha and Miranda, they don't fight their femininity, and they don't seem to despise men or compete with them.
What's the big deal? In 50 years, men are going to be obsolete anyway.
Miranda and Samantha are the ultimate independent women. While Miranda often shows contempt for healthy femininity and for men in general, Samantha likes to see herself as a man.
Bang your head against the wall and try and find a relationship, or you can say screw it and just go out and have sex like a man.
Although the show did a good job of depicting the pitfalls of their independence, it still managed to sell the idea that it was a desirable lifestyle. Samantha is a great friend, but she's selfish when it comes to romantic relationships. She doesn't see the problem with adultery, she refuses to sacrifice herself for someone else, and proves it when she breaks up with Smith.
I love you, but I love me more. And I've been in a relationship with myself for 49 years, and that's the one I need to work on.
Society loves telling people they need to be alone to grow and work on themselves, but it's the opposite. Relationships are the base place to grow into the best version of yourself because you have constraints, limits, and standards that are put on you. She simply thinks she has given enough to him, even after he stayed by her side during her cancer battle. But what she means by working on the relationship with herself is living her life by her own standards and making compromises for no one. By doing this, the show painted emotional self-sufficiency as a form of strength. By saying she loves herself more than she loves him, she's saying that it's okay to put yourself first in life, even in a healthy, loving and committed relationship. Social media amplifies this message. You should always be unapologetically true to yourself, whatever the cost. Whether it's #girlboss culture or self-care content, the message is the same. Be everything, be amazing, but alone. Live your life for yourself first and nobody else. Not only is it wrong, but what's funny is that no one wants that. Everybody wants the two lovers to end up together at the end of the romantic comedy. What is there to look forward to in Samantha's life? She's fun and all, but most of her life's big decisions are based on fear.
We have it all. Great apartments, great jobs, great friends, great sex. At my age, my mother was saddled with 3 kids and a drunk husband.
Since she didn't want to end up like her mother, who was stuck in a marriage with an alcoholic man, she wanted to stay single and have sex with as many men as she pleased. Not only is it unhealthy to live that way, but it's also really shallow. Isn't there a middle ground? I don't think her life is much better than her mother's, to be honest. even if the show presents it as amazing. Picture it. You work all day, however amazing and well-paying that job is, you still come back home to no one every day. No one to talk to, no one to share a meal with, no one to sleep with at night. You may see your friends here and there, but unless they are single and childless too, you'll most likely be on your own most of the time. They'll tell you it's peace, but it's just deafening silence. Most people don't want that, and that's the part they don't show you in the series. They'll show you Samantha's fabulous body and outfits and the fabulous parties she goes to convince you this is what you want, but they won't show you her heartache at night.
Why not me? What am I doing wrong? Am I invisible?
Can I help you?
I live here.
I'll admit that they do show Miranda's loneliness quite a lot on the show, but not for the same reasons. She is the strong, cynical feminist archetype, the woman who kind of despises her femininity and refuses to show her vulnerability because she thinks it's a weakness. She dismisses Charlotte for having hopes and dreams about men. She despises mothers for letting motherhood change them. She often dresses like a guy, so much so that she's taken for a lesbian in one episode.
I'm fine. I do not need anyone to hold my hand.
Jeez, I'm not saying you need anyone. I just like to be there, to help you, whatever.
She mostly sees femininity as a weakness and doesn't understand that there is strength in womanhood, that there is courage in leaning on others, and that there is power in softness, and that her refusal to lean on others leads her to constant loneliness.
Trust me, this is not a story that makes men feel bad.
She sometimes shows profound disdain for men without realizing that her independence relies upon and benefits greatly from men. On the one hand, the show promotes women's sexual freedom. Both Miranda and Samantha are very sexually active. Samantha is on another level, but even Miranda has had a lot of sexual partners throughout the years. All the men she slept with got it for free. No commitment was required. The show makes it seem like there are no ramifications for her actions, and that women don't suffer from a high number of partners, but promiscuity has a deep and lasting impact on women's physical and mental health. On the other hand, she profits from all the comforts our patriarchal society has to offer, without which she could never be an independent, successful female lawyer. Local supermarkets that provide fresh produce from farmers, taxi drivers to take her home safely after a night out, high-end apartments with running water, electricity, security, and doormen. All of these services are widely provided by men. For years now, independence has been conflated with happiness. It was supposed to bring women the ultimate freedom to do whatever they wanted, however they wanted, whenever they wanted. We've already established that this is not what happiness is, by the way, but it still seems to be most people's goal nowadays. But let's go back to the basics, shall we? Maslow's hierarchy of needs outlines our physiological and safety needs as foundational. Love and belonging needs come right after. Not independence or self-reliance and self-actualization, but love and belonging. Of course, independence itself isn't a bad thing, and I believe we should all be independent to a certain degree. But our modern society has forgotten that love and belonging are foundational too, that it's okay and healthy to need each other, that interdependence should be the ultimate goal, because happiness actually comes from serving one another. But after decades of propaganda, even I feel silly saying this out loud. The underlying message in the way these characters are portrayed is that you should delay interdependence or forego it altogether because the self is more important than anything else. This message is damaging our society. More and more women end up single in their late 30s, and although the mainstream media is trying to convince us it's for the best, I don't believe it. Independence isn't bad, as I said, but when it's rooted in fear of connection, it's not strength. When it's rooted in deep individualism, it's not healthy or right. Shows like Sex and the City were trying to empower women, but have taught us that needing anyone is a flaw instead.
We can have anything delivered at any hour. We can have our dogs walked, our clothes cleaned, our food cooked. Who needs a husband when you have a doorman?
I'm not an anti-capitalist, but there is clear economic value in keeping women overly independent. They work harder and longer to make more money, so they pay more taxes. They consume a lot because they want to treat themselves, so self-care, and don't need to make any sacrifices for other people. They live alone and thus pay for lots of services that could have been provided for free by their husbands or close family. They are more prone to depression, so they need to go to therapy and pay for antidepressants. I could go on and on, but you get it. Instead of teaching women not to rely on anyone, focus on their career to make a lot of money and be boss babes, let's teach them discernment to pick the right man to share their lives with. Let's teach them not to sleep around because it could cloud their judgment and impede their intimacy in future relationships. Let's also teach them actual life skills such as cooking, housekeeping, accounting, and sewing to make them really independent and autonomous rather than dependent on multiple costly services. Is that realistic in today's society? I'm not so sure. But there will come a point when we'll realize that we need to change our ways. Let's hope it doesn't come too late.
I don't need to make pies. I'm practically a partner in a major law firm. If I want pie, I can buy it.